anybody who wants to see it afterwards. So these are the questions that I think, just in small groups, I would like you to discuss with each other. I'll break you out into small groups in breakout rooms, which, obviously don't have to go anywhere. It's just going to put people into groups at random. I'm asking you to just discuss some of your biggest concerns about classes or other issues that you may have now in our new reality. Remember, this class is about supporting you and obviously doing some work, but my main concern is to try and help where possible during this time. What are the major questions you may have about classes or platforms, etc.? So I know, or I'm sure that, for all the classes you have, that your professors are maybe asking you to use all different platforms. And so maybe you have questions about that, and what kind of support do you need from me. So, when we're in a big group like this and we can't, maybe you can see me, but I can't really see you. I don't necessarily want to call on people yet, because we're still getting used to this. I think it might just be helpful to have people talk amongst themselves first, and then you can come back in. I'll stop the small groups at a point in time, and you can come back in, and one of you who was is in the small group, one person can just feed back to the large group. So let's just do that first, and then after that, I think we can move into talking about, as we go through your concerns and things, maybe I can answer some of the questions to do with this class. And then we'll also go into what we should be talking about today, which is really careers and majors and transfer, and building up to me helping you to make sure that you know which classes you have to take. Is that clear? Can I get a few people just confirming that I'm clear on the small group discussion?
Yes.
Yes, clear.
Thank you. So I'm going to break us up into 4 small groups. The system will automatically, you can see here, because I'm sharing my screen what I'm doing, the system will automatically generate a type of pop-up that asks you to join a small group. So I ask that you just actually join the group, and you will have to unmute yourself when you're speaking to your colleagues there. And I'll give you guys about 10 minutes from when the small group starts to discuss these things, maybe take some notes. And also, you can also invite me into your small group if you have a very urgent question that you want to ask me about. So I'm going to create the rooms now. It's already showing that, who is where. So I'm clicking open all rooms. So you should have received an invitation to a room. Can someone confirm that they see an invitation? Well, yes, because you guys are joining, so you definitely are seeing. So anyone who hasn't joined yet, please join your small group. There are 2 people who still haven't joined. Okay. So 10 minutes until about 10:40 to discuss, and then one person can get back to us. All right. It looks like we have most people back here from the breakout rooms. That was my first time attempting to use the breakout rooms in Zoom. So I apologize. I think that my screen share didn't follow you into the breakout room. Is that correct? You couldn't see my screen when you went into the breakout room? Yeah?
No.
No, I
Yeah.
couldn't see your screen.
Yeah, so sorry about that. So I did broadcast the questions, but next time what I'll do is I'll make sure that for every breakout room I have whatever you're supposed to be discussing, I'll just broadcast out to you.
I did see like a little blue screen come up and the questions came up.
Yeah, that was afterwards though, after
Okay.
somebody actually told me that they couldn't see the questions anymore. So sorry about that. We're learning together, but thank you for your patience. So we had 4 breakout rooms, and I know that I asked you guys to identify someone who would speak on behalf of your room. So just to remind ourselves of the questions. What are some of your biggest concerns right now regarding your classes? What are some of the major questions you may have? And then what support do you need from me? So the floor is open for any of the representatives of the rooms to start. Bear with me as I take notes while you speak, just so that I can make sure to follow up on anything where people need help. So go ahead, anybody. Just tell me which room you were in.
Hi.
Hi,
I'm
Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Hi, Jeremy.
I was in a room with, I think, I don't remember their names. I
Yeah, I
think,
think it's Jachi and I think maybe JIE were in your room. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
yeah, I am like, well, my biggest concern about my classes is whether, they're really the right classes for me, I guess. Oh, what was the second question?
Well, so can you just backtrack? You mean really the right classes for you in terms of what? I mean, is this what your group is talking about in terms of now that everything's gone online or something else?
Yeah, like now that it's like everything's online. I'm not really like familiar with anything in the classes like all these
Mm-hmm.
like emails and online stuff. I kind of get lost.
You're getting lost. Okay, and how many classes did you have or people in your group have approximately?
I have 4. I'm not
You
sure
have,
about
you have 4
my
classes.
classmates.
Um, uh, Let me just go back here. So the people who were in the group with Jeremy, I think it's Jachi and Jai. How many classes do you guys have?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, how many classes do you have? Jai, how many classes do you have?
What?
How many classes are you taking this semester?
3.
Okay, 3. Okay. Okay, I'm just trying to get an idea. So the second question, Jeremy, was any other questions that your group had, or the last piece was any support that you needed from me. Did you
Uh,
guys talk about anything else?
Wait, can you repeat that? It didn't like really come through clean.
Yeah, so maybe are people not hearing me well? I'll try
It's
to.
me. It's me. I don't got that good Wi-Fi like that.
Okay, so what I was saying was what kind of support would be helpful and any other major questions that you guys had in your group that hasn't been covered yet by your concern about your classes not being the right fit for online.
There wasn't really a concern. We kind of spoke about how what we wanted to be. Jackie was wanted to major in accounting,
Yeah.
and I said I'm taking an accounting class, but I'm not sure if I want to be an accountant. I'm
Mm-hmm.
majoring in business administration, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Mm-hmm.
really sure with what I want to do with this degree, or even if it's the right one.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
you're still exploring.
that's
So
why I was saying like I wasn't sure if
yeah.
these classes are for me or if online is really going to be helpful because
because you're not as familiar with the tools and stuff you were saying, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you're talking about whether this degree is for me and so on, because for the second part of today, we're actually going to work on majors, transfer, and career. So you'll have an opportunity to explore a bit more about what you could be doing with a business administration degree, which types of colleges you may want to go to, and that will help us to build towards which courses you should be focusing on to be able to get to where you need to go. So we will have some work on that this morning. I'm not saying that that's going to bring you absolute clarity on exactly what you want to do with your life, but it's certainly spending some time to try and figure out how you might go from doing this business admin degree at Laguardia to transferring maybe to a 4-year school if that's part of your plan, but starting out with actually seeing, as they say, start with the end in mind, trying to see where you want to end up and what type of studies would get you to that point. All right.
Yeah.
And so I've made a note about the online classes, and now that we're in this new situation, and you and I may have to speak a little bit more offline, Jeremy, about how you can be helped. But I think that you're probably right there with many of your classmates or your colleagues about trying to adjust to all the emails coming in, all the instructions coming in, all the just, it's like a deluge of information. I get it, and that's why I wanted to also just speak to you guys to find out how you're doing. So thank you for your contribution. We'll hear from others, and then at the end, maybe if someone, Jeremy, if you still want to add something, you can go right ahead. Anybody? Thank you. Anybody from a spokesperson from one of the other rooms, please, you can go ahead now.
So another one of our concerns was also the same thing that Jeremy had just said.
Mm-hmm.
It's very overwhelming, different softwares. All classes are doing like different, some use different programs.
Platforms, yeah.
And especially with math, it's so hard because with math you have to be, well, at least for someone who's been away from the whole academic field for a while,
for so long, yeah.
like myself, I don't feel like I'm gonna really benefit the whole learning thing from this whole distant without being hands-on, and that kind of scares me because I was kind of hoping this semester would kind of prepare me for what's to come, and I don't really think I'm going to get that. So
right. I mean, this is
just,
real talk. Hoover.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to, like get a good routine going and get it, with all this online, and then it's like they're putting a lot of responsibility on me to keep track of emails and assignments.
Yeah, so it's like a time management thing also, because you have to know when things are due. I mean,
and
for
then
our
this whole
classes.
virus, it still eats up mentally all of us, one way or another, so that's also occupying a lot of your mind.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as like maybe support, I would hope that teachers have more patience with us and are really willing to work with us as far as like assignments and deadlines.
Have you spoken? I mean, have you
I
been?
have.
I'm just asking. Yeah, I'm just asking
I've
you.
had
But I mean, others can chime in. Like, have you been on with
I've
your
been able to
professors or whatever?
I've been able to somewhat keep a good track of my classes so far, but I feel like this week when it officially all started, I don't know if it's like maybe a little like a slight nervous breakdown, or now I feel overwhelmed. Like suddenly now I feel like, okay, now I've realized how many times I have to look at my computer that I wasn't doing before. I constantly have to open my phone. I constantly have to.
You have to check constantly to see if something
But so
new
far,
came in.
thankfully and thank God, everything so far so good has been good. I mean, easy. Let's just see how it goes this week and how I do with my assignment submissions and my whatever else I have to do. So basically, this is like my first true run, first real week at online
it's the
classes.
first week for all of us for the most part.
I want to see how I get through this one. So
yeah,
but I'm hoping everything goes well. So far, I'm in for the ride.
Yeah, and I mean, not that this necessarily helps to ease the pain, but I will say that the Student Government Association tutoring lab that would have obviously been in person before, that definitely tutors math, has gone virtual, and you can make appointments with tutors like one-on-one. So I will post. I don't know if you guys, I mean, everyone's getting so many emails, including me, and I'm sorry that I also over communicate, but it's because I would rather tell you more than you need to know, because I'm worried that I might lose people. I mean, my main thing is to try and keep as many people as possible. Um, but I will post the information regarding the virtual tutoring lab, if that might be helpful to anybody. They tutor all the science classes, they tutor math, and they also tutor accounting. I'll also just throw this out there. I think Jeremy was talking about accounting, that he's taking, I don't know which accounting classes people are taking, but I do teach also principles of accounting too. I have a class that meets in real time on Mondays and Wednesdays at 10:30, but I record the lectures and I'm posting them to YouTube. So if there's somebody who's taking principles of accounting too, and you're feeling like, you might need additional support just to watch something where, things are being explained further, you're welcome to let me know, and I'll give you the details of the YouTube channel. And I mean, it's video, so you can fast forward, rewind, whatever, or just take what you need. So I can provide support in that way. Hoover, how are you? Because you said you were keeping track of, or Hoover, or anybody who was in Hoover's group, or anybody else, you said you were keeping track of what's being asked or what's due or whatever in your classes, but how are you actually doing that? Like, can anybody give some tips for others who are maybe feeling like they are receiving so many emails and so many deadlines? How are we managing to keep all our deadlines straight?
Well,
I mean, and I do like, and they do tell you when it's due, like when things are due and stuff. I feel like you just gotta, like, if you don't know how to already, just manage yourself.
Yeah, but yeah, totally. But I'm even talking about like practical stuff. Like, are people using
I
Google
try to
Calendar? Are people making a massive
I try to
calendar
write it.
somewhere?
Yeah, I try to take notes. I write down like I just scribble on a piece of paper Tuesday so and so, or Thursday so and so, and then I know I just look at the paper. All right, so I'll go on to Blackboard because this class for me is Blackboard on Tuesday. So that's how I do it. I just jot it down on like a sloppy piece of paper.
Okay. So paper, possibly virtual, but I mean, even with the paper, then you also have to look at the paper quite often, right? Because otherwise you might miss something.
I mean, I feel like I kind of just, like, if I see any work that has to be done, I kind of try to attack it right away
Just do it. Okay.
instead of
Yeah.
like,
And that's
that's also kind of hard.
yeah. And I mean, it's
It's
not
not really
possible for
easy for me
everybody,
to
because
balance.
some people have kids that are now suddenly home that they have to homeschool, and it's a whole other ball game. But if you can just
I
get
have
it
a
done.
4-year-old,
Yeah, so
so
I know the drill. My 3-year-old is here
imagine.
going buck wild. So I'm sure there are other people who have kids as well. It's no joke. So Jeremy, I think it's a good idea. What you're saying is, if you have some time available and you know something is due, just tackle it, right? Just get it done
Yeah, just
as
get it done
quickly
right
as
away.
you can,
That's
even if
honestly
it's
the
not
best way.
Just
due
make time
that
for
day.
whatever you
Yeah.
gotta do.
Yeah, that's honestly the best way. Just get it out the way.
Right. So can I hear from another? I still have two rooms that need to speak. Anybody from? I think it was Selena was in a room with people. I don't know if you're the spokesperson. I'm just calling out that room, and then also Anastasia was in a room with some people. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. So whoever's the spokesperson for room 1 and room 3, please go right ahead. Tanisha.
yes.
Okay.
Well, most of us said that it feels regular. However, I said that I feel like it's going to make me become a little lazier. And that's why I
Okay.
prefer face-to-face with my professor.
Mhm.
I don't know. That's just how I feel.
there's the possibility of checking out because you don't necessarily have a regular, some professors are not doing real-time online lectures, so that class can just be forgotten sometimes, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm determined to still pass these classes regardless, but I don't know. I'd rather face-to-face stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying to a colleague. I said, it's so hard because you got many people signed up for face-to-face for a reason.
Exactly.
I feel for you, and I feel for even what Hoover was saying. This was supposed to be like a semester for him to get into a rhythm, getting into a routine of coming back to classes and stuff. And now suddenly you have all these things coming in for you guys to do, but there isn't a proper structure, like a schedule to the day. So I would encourage, I know this sounds super boring, but from a time management perspective, I would actually encourage you to build a schedule if you haven't done that already. We all need to, get out of our pajamas in the morning so it feels like the day started, and actually break your day up into whether it be 30-minute increments or whatever, to say, okay, between these times, this is what I'm doing, and try to give every class some attention, even the classes where you don't have that much work going on, because I mean, professors online, some of them are going to be the same as how they are in person, meaning that it might seem like there's nothing to do in the class, and then suddenly the professor just comes with like 15 things that you have to hand in by next week, So just maybe think about how you can build a schedule. I mean, I totally get it. We're in the midst of a pandemic, so some of this feels like, does it matter if we're doing our classwork, if the world is going, crazy? But we have to try to also give ourselves some structure. Otherwise, I mean, we just curl up into a ball and cry, And what about, Tanisha, what about any other support you guys need from me, or major questions that you have, even about this class or something like that? Did you guys have anything?
No, because we didn't know that question. We thought it was just that one question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's my bad because I messed up the screen, not messed up the screen share, but I was also just operating on trying something out, which now I know I should send the questions with you. You aren't able to see my screen. No worries. What about thank you.
If I may.
Yeah, go
Sorry.
ahead. Elena, are you from the next group?
I'm actually, I think, from Tanisha's group.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
I was added late. So just what you said about how you can help us, I think one of the ways that could help us, like, that we remind us that we have to hand in work, would be like setting up a day before reminders. I think you did like the day of reminders. I'm not sure.
I did a few reminders, but whatever works best for you guys. I did a reminder after we went into in-person. I said, obviously you can't hand in on the 17th anymore, but that was like on the 12th or 13th of March. So people may not really be paying attention. And then I did another reminder, but, and then I always do a day off because I feel like maybe people who are ignoring me will suddenly wake up, but I'm happy to do, I think I tend to over communicate, so I don't want to drive people nuts, but I'm happy to do like a long reminder, like maybe if something is due in a week, I do it, when it's due a week, I can do a day before and I can do a day off. I'm happy to do that. Would that be helpful?
Yeah, personally, I think that would be helpful only because like I too have a child and like it can be a little bit overwhelming. I'm also taking 4 classes and they're all like basically paper written and things that I have to hand in. So I think that would be helpful for my part.
Thank you for saying that. And also my approach has usually been, and it's kind of gone up in smoke. My approach at the beginning of the semester is usually to give a list of due dates that is like people would just know automatically when stuff is due for the entire semester. But we didn't even get there because of everything that's happened. So I'm also comfortable to make a master calendar, if I could call it that I will send to you guys that will just say, this is the work that's due by these dates. And then I will still send you the reminders, because you could always just refer to the master calendar if you aren't able to receive emails or you are not sure what the heck is going on. Will that be helpful?
Yeah, actually, that would be. So like that we can manage our time correctly
Yeah,
and see
yeah.
what is due.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. And now after today and speaking to you guys and so on, it gives me more of an idea of how I can be supportive. And so I think that's one way that I can do that. And it's something, like I said, that I would have done anyway. It's just that we never got around to it. Okay. Anything else, Elena?
No,
Okay.
I think that was just it.
Thank you. What about that last group, the last group that hasn't spoken yet? Who's your spokesperson? Anything that you guys want to share? I don't know.
Well,
Yeah. Oh, Gabriela. Okay.
yeah. One of the things that kind of frustrates me about all of this is like all the different platforms,
Yes.
Slack, Zoom, then the Blackboard, email, and all of that. It kind of gets a little overwhelming,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And also, you're
Could I
saying
just before you move on, I just want to comment and say we are right there with you. Even the faculty, I'm very disappointed in the fact that CUNY doesn't have a consistency mandate or whatever that just says everybody should use this thing or everybody should use that
That would
thing.
really be helpful.
I've been advocating within the department, but it's just not possible because some people are just not open to using certain technology. So we've been left in a situation, and I've said this several times, where students are being asked to learn like 3 or 4 different platforms. And I know for us in our class, you were going to do the e-portfolio anyway, but obviously now the Slack channel was added, which is a new thing to learn, and now it's also Zoom. So Gabriela, I hear you. I wish that it was different because I really think that this is a learning opportunity now for CUNY to just say in future, God forbid that there should be a future like this, but in future, everybody should just be using this one thing. The reason everybody can't use Blackboard Collaborate is because Blackboard doesn't have enough space. So if we had to have a call on Blackboard, many of the times the calls crash because Blackboard just isn't fit for the amount of people that have to use it, which is why I went for Zoom, because I know that Zoom is a public company and they have a reputation to lose if their calls are crashing all the time. In any case, go on, Gabriela. I just wanted to just empathize and say I really do understand that it's overwhelming to have to learn all these platforms.
Yeah, and also you were saying that you over communicate, but I actually like that because
Yeah.
I don't have professors that actually even communicate. So it's kind of like I have to be the one on top of them, and it's
that's
kind
an
of weird.
extra workload for you.
Yeah.
And so talk to me a little bit about that experience. Are you saying that you are then just directly emailing the professor because they aren't telling you guys what to do?
Yes, so I have a professor. He's a little old, and I guess that's why he's, I guess, careless or doesn't really reach out. So that's a problem because I have to pass that class,
Okay, so this is my advice to anybody, Gabriela included, anybody who has a professor who is just gone AWOL or isn't communicating. I'm sorry to say it, but if you've emailed your professor several times and they're not responding, your next stop is to email the chairperson of the department that is applicable. So for instance, you would remember this from the overview of the business department. Every department has a website, or you can just look it up in the Laguardia directory. And so for instance, for us, our chairperson for business is Michael Napolitano. So if you don't hear from a professor for, after you've emailed them many times and you don't know what is expected of you, you are well within your rights, and students are doing it already. You're well within your rights to email the professor and say, my name is X, this is my MPL, this is the class, I'm in the class with Andrea Francis, I haven't heard from her, for 4 weeks, I don't know what is expected of the class, can you please help by getting in touch with the person to ask them to communicate with the students. If you're afraid to do that, which I also totally get, please contact me and tell me who it is that you are struggling with. And I can even reach out to the professor and say, I'm your first year seminar professor. You're really trying hard to pass all your classes, but you're finding that they are not, are not responding to all your questions. It's fine. I can help you. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Was there anything else that, and I mean, I'm being serious when I say, if you really don't get a hold of someone and you don't feel comfortable emailing the chair, please let me know and I'll just reach out to the person. And if I still don't hear back from them, then I think we should be okay to speak to the chair of the department, because it's not that we're trying to get people into trouble. We're all just trying to make sure that's, well, I mean, I feel like my job is to make sure that you guys get through the semester. So if people are not working with you to do that, then they're not doing their job, right?
And
all right.
That's it.
Go ahead. Yeah?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. All right. So thank you, folks, for your feedback here. I mean, I get all the, I have, written down what people have said. And I think some of you I may need to contact directly, but I think some of the supports that I can give, I will share via Blackboard announcement after this. And I will also work on our master calendar so that you have it. And you can, at least for this class, have an idea of what is being expected of you. The other thing that I wanted to say was, between now and the spring break, which starts in April, our main concern is going to be focusing on career and major and transfer, and also course selection, so that by the time we come back from spring break, if registration is open, which it likely will be, you would, and again, please understand that I know that it's crazy times and it might almost feel futile to be thinking about registration for the next semester, but things will return to some semblance of normalcy, and at that point we don't want to find out that we did not do the work to know what you guys want to register for next semester. And I think it's even more critical now, because some of you may be considering dropping classes and so on. And so we can work out, plan A if you keep the class, plan B if you don't, like how does it impact your eventual graduation date, things of that nature. So so this week we'll just be exploring more for careers and transfer and so on. But next week I'll take you through the entire listing of courses and things that you could be selecting, and then you will give me eventually your selection of courses that you want to take. And over the spring break I'll go through it and I'll get back to you to make sure that you're on the right track so that you can graduate when you are supposed to. Okay. Questions on that piece? Nothing? Okay, so before we launch into the lesson, and again, I'm not going to keep you here. I don't want to keep you here forever. I know people are probably tired and so on, but I do just want to go over Blackboard again and where things are and so on, because I did ask people to submit work via Blackboard, and I think some people knew what they were doing and others possibly did not. So I'm going to can someone just confirm that you can see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So this is our class, right? And let me just open this up, pardon me. So in the class, I started a new thing called Zoom call material, so that you could just find whatever you needed for the call in one place. So showing you that. I do have office hours Mondays and Tuesdays at 1 p.m., which is basically almost right after this class. And that's the meeting ID for the office hours. You're not under any obligation to come to my office hours, but you can come if you have a few questions that you just want to resolve. You don't have to stay for the whole hour. Today, this is the document that we will be using. So if you don't have it downloaded yet, you can click on here and you'll be able to use it. Pardon me. So after today's call, I will just put a link to the YouTube video of this call, so that if necessary, you know, if we went over anything major, so that the people who are not on the call will also be able to see what we have, what we've been doing. Just one quick thing that I wanted to say about attendance. I do check people off for attendance if they're on the call, but the attendance is going to be a two-part situation, because it's going to be either that you're on the call, or if you couldn't make the call, that you actually finished the work that is related to, you know, the topic. Because I understand that there will be times, because of the situation that we're in, that people may not be able to make the call. So I can't just say, oh, well, you weren't on the call, so you didn't attend. So I will also look at your work. If you completed the work, then I will take that as your attendance if you missed the call. This doesn't mean that you should stay off the calls, because I will also reach out to you if I see that you haven't been on any of the calls. But I just wanted to give you guys some reassurance that, you know, I'm trying to be reasonable to give you leeway that if you cannot make the call on a particular day, as long as you finish the work, you should be okay. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So now, submitting work via Blackboard, all right? So here's the assignments and due dates tab. And when you click on it, of course, I put just a very short video to show how do you upload an assignment in Blackboard. So these assignments that I was asking you to upload is basically for classwork that we would be doing. I cannot receive everybody's work via email, because my email is inundated with all kinds of stuff, as you can imagine, because everybody's gone online now. So your best bet to actually make sure that I see your work is to submit your work via the space that I make for an assignment. So for instance, today we'll start on this work for majors, career and transfer, and you can see there that that's the lesson. You upload your assignment by Sunday, March the 29th. I'm just trying to keep all the dates to Sunday, not necessarily because I want you to work all day Sunday, but just Sunday might be a day when you might have some more flexibility if other people are home and you can actually get your work done. I'm asking you guys to upload as a Word document so that I can actually, if I need to put any remarks on your work, I can do it in the document. Instead of typing your answer into the box that is there. So what do I mean? If you click on here, you can see that there's the due date, there's the amount of points that are possible for this assignment, and then you would just attach, once you finish doing the work, you just browse the computer and attach the file and then submit the file. So you're going to go like that, going to look for something to attach, and and then you can upload the work, and then I'll be able to see whether you uploaded the work or not. Questions about this part of the submission?
No.
No.
Okay, so I just want to be clear. I know that it's again two platforms because you're doing some stuff on ePortfolio and you're doing some stuff submitting via Blackboard. Under normal circumstances, we would have just been in the class, you would have done the work, I would have just collected the pieces of paper and you wouldn't have to submit anything else, and you would do some other work on ePortfolio. But now, unfortunately, because of how it is and we're away from each other, in order for me to see what you actually did, I do need to have you submit the work somewhere. And at this stage, it's just easier for me to see if people have done the work by going through Blackboard, because when I click on the grading center, I actually see your name and I can see that you submitted the work. And for anybody who didn't submit, I can follow up with them. So up to now, you know, there were three things that were due: your overview of the business department, the introduction to the business discipline, and the introduction to the SWOT analysis was due on Sunday. Someone might say, well, are you accepting late work because I didn't realize what was going on, or I was feeling overwhelmed, or I was doing shopping or whatever? Yes, you can still submit, because this work does count towards your participation, great. If you choose not to submit, that's up to you. You decide. You can also contact me separately if you need more support with how to submit the work via Blackboard. Any questions?
If we submit late, if we submit late, do you deduct points?
So for this, so I would say for everything that's happening now before spring break, I'm not going to deduct points for any lateness because everybody's just still trying to figure out what the heck is going on. But I think once we've had the spring break, the 10 days, and people may have been able to catch up on things, and we kind of maybe have a little bit of a breather to figure stuff out. Once we come back, I'm going to be a little bit more strict about deadlines. Is that fair, guys?
Yeah. Very
no one
fair.
wants to say yes, right?
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think I would like to just be kind and gracious in these 3 weeks. Yes, we just try to find our feet. I just want people to at least submit so that you can get the feeling of what a submission looks like. I can go through the materials and so on. And like I said, then when we come back on whatever date it is, somewhere in the 18th or whatever of April, hopefully we have found our feet by then, and you can do things a little bit more on time. Remember that you can always contact me if you're having some crisis and you need extra time to do something, but you have to communicate to me. Just submitting something late is not enough for me to know that there was a valid reason for you to be late. Okay, you have to actually tell me in advance that something, or on the day or whatever, that something's going wrong and that you have to submit late. Okay, so this is, so for every assignment that's needed to be submitted on Blackboard, I'm trying to make a space for it. I've made spaces for up to when we go on spring break. So I'm showing you here, this is today's work, and then you've got for next week, you will have a degree plan worksheet that I'll go through with you that you'll submit by April the 5th. All right, and then the rest will happen after that. Anything else? Questions on the Blackboard portal?
Excuse me, I have a question. It's
Go ahead.
not about Blackboard. It's more about our Thursday class, studio hour, and e-portfolio. So I didn't receive any emails from our.
I'm going to stop the share so that I can see who's talking. So Anastasia, do you say Anastasia or Anastasia?
Yeah, Anastasia.
Okay, Anastasia, yes. So you're saying you didn't receive any emails?
Yeah, and basically I didn't continue any work on e-portfolio, which I would like to, but I don't remember how we were doing it. Like, I know we go to my Laguardia and we log in, but after that, I would need some instructions.
Okay.
We started, and then we were supposed to meet again to continue, like, about me part, and we never did that. Maybe I have to.
Well, the class met last week Thursday, so I wasn't sure what you meant by we were supposed to meet again, and we never did that.
I mean that we were, like, 2 weeks ago we were supposed to meet in real life, but because
got you. Yeah, but everything got shut down. Got you. Okay, so it sounds like, if I'm understanding you correctly, the support that you need and others may need as well is that I need to try and give you information just on how to log into Digication, into the ePortfolio, and then you also need the link because Jessica actually created a place that shows the entire lesson plan for the day when you weren't able to come because you didn't get the email, and she also recorded the lesson via a Zoom video. So what I'll do is, I mean, she can obviously send it out again, but just for the sake of completeness, I'll actually just ask her for access to anything that I don't have. I think I have basically almost all of the material somewhere, in my emails. And what I'll do is I'll just do a compilation announcement, which will become an email, obviously, that will guide you to how to make up the work. Is that fair?
All right. Yeah, because I know how to log in, but when I go to ePortfolio, it would be great to have, like, some structure, like, what do you do first? What do you want to do second?
Yeah, and that's the lesson plan that she has on the classes ePortfolio for that day, last week Thursday, that you missed. So we actually have that. And I think if you watch the video where she ran through the
I
material,
will
it might be helpful.
Thanks.
Okay, and if not, you know, there's still support that can be had, because the SSMs also have virtual tutoring and stuff on ePortfolio. So whatever needs to happen, we will make it happen so that you can get through this. Okay. So look out for me to send you something. I'll try to see if no one comes to office hours, which I doubt normally people do, but if no one comes to office hours, I'll try to compile the information about the studio hour from 1 o'clock this afternoon. If people do come to office hours, I'll have to do it either at the tail end of my daughter's nap, or otherwise I have to do it very late tonight, like at 9 p.m., because that will be the next time that I'll have any kind of leeway. Because just, I mean, like most people, I'm sure you guys are in the same boat. I have to work, and my husband has to work from home. So we have to juggle everything. And a lot of my work actually happens late at night now, because I do most of the watching of my daughter. So look out either 1 o'clock or after 9, but I will get back to you. Okay, Anastasia?
Thank you.
And I'll get back to everybody. And Anastasia, you are receiving my emails though, right?
Yeah, I received your emails. I was wondering maybe Jessica sent me email on CUNY email, which I never was able.
Yeah, if that's definitely where it's going to live at this time. And I mean, I'm not picking on you, please understand. I'm just going to say to everybody, you have to check your live CUNY live at LAGCC email, because a lot of the a lot of the platforms and things are attached to the live account. So are you able to get into your live account, Anastasia?
Yeah, I can get it, but I don't see the folder or like any new emails.
Huh. Okay, maybe if are you available at 1 p.m., maybe you can come into the office hours and show me what you see.
All right.
Yeah, so you know where to find, you know the code for the office hours, right? Or do I need to give you the meeting ID again?
No, I can see it on Blackboard.
Okay, it's on Blackboard. Okay. So anything else before we just do a little bit of thinking about careers and stuff? Anybody? Are we good?
What was the question?
I said, is there anything else that we need to troubleshoot before we can move into just having you guys think about your careers and so on a little bit? No? Okay. So I'm going to share the screen, my screen again, and go into the document that we have to use for today. I encourage you to also go and get the document yourself if you don't have it already. Can you see that, everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, we can see you.
You can see. Okay. So so for today, we're, again, like I said, we're trying to start with the end in mind. So part of this class is just thinking about, remember what Jeremy was even talking about, thinking about, you know, where do I want to end up with my career? What does that mean in terms of where I need to transfer to? And what does that mean in terms of the major that I should actually be doing? So you should have this open or have it somewhere near you, but I also want to direct you to a website. You can look on your phone or you can look on your screen, whatever makes sense. The website is www.bls.gov. And we're looking for the Occupational Outlook Handbook, which is also OOH. And when you click on that, what this is showing is this is the government's Bureau of Labor Statistics that is showing different occupations that people might be involved in. And so if we're going to business and financial, for instance, I'm just going to do the first thing. So someone said that they wanted to be an accountant. So basically, if you click on there, you can see for, accountants and auditors, what was the median pay, meaning the middle, right? How much money were people in the middle of the pack making in 2018? What kind of education do you need? What type of work experience do you need? How many jobs are available? Is it growing? What is the employment change, meaning how many extra people are going to go into this field in the next 10 years? And then it actually goes into what does an accountant and an auditor do. If you click on that, you can see, basically all the information about what does a typical day look like. You can also look at the work environment, how would I become one, etc., etc. So I know that some people already kind of know what they want to do, but I think it might be helpful as you consider this first question based on your knowledge of yourself, your interests, your goals, your SWOT, right? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, your course of study, and so on. What 3 career options do you think you would like to, explore? And remember, some of you like, I know exactly what I want to do, that's fine, but think of at least one plan B so that you have an idea of what you think you may want to do. Am I clear?
Yes.
So why don't I give you maybe, again, if you want to go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics website, you can do that. But I'm going to give you maybe, thinking time-wise, maybe about 10 minutes to work through, choosing the 3 career options. If you go really quickly, you can actually start answering some of these questions. What does a typical day look like? And remember, I was saying that you can figure that out by just going into some of these options and trying to see what people are doing. If I'm in management, what does it look like? If I'm in advertising, if that's what I want to do, or marketing or something like that. So let's take 10 minutes here. We'll check back in at 11:50. And again, most people should be able to get this document. Sorry, I'm just trying to, what happened to my Blackboard now? Oh, there. So if you don't know where to find the documents, it's under Zoom call materials, the documents right there. You might as well start filling it out now, because this will be the document that you have to submit later on for the class. Okay, so 10 minutes until 11:50, and then we'll maybe have a few people tell us what their choices are. Do you guys want me to keep sharing my screen, or it doesn't matter? Anybody want me to keep sharing?
That's fine. Yeah, you should stay in case I have
I'm
questions.
okay.
But my screen, like the questions, okay, I'll stay in there, no problem. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, so we've had 10 minutes to work through some of your choices and also maybe some of what does a day look like and things of that nature. So what I'm gonna do, and we can do this for another 10 minutes, is I'm gonna put you back into the breakout rooms. And what you'll do is just discuss a little bit with each other what your potential career plans are and maybe what you found on the Bureau of Labor Statistics website. Maybe you guys can see if you have similar career aspirations. And then if you have enough time, and I will put this into the I will put this into the breakout room note. If you have enough time, you can start talking about transfer options, like 2 schools that you think you may want to transfer to after LaGuardia. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so I'm just gonna recreate. Oh, I did the wrong thing now. Oh boy, I've messed up. This is where you, let me see if I just get out of this, if I'll be able to. Yeah, I messed up because I thought recreate meant the system will recreate. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna open, I'm gonna open all the rooms again. You'll get the notice to join the room, and I will broadcast to all the rooms what you're supposed to be doing. Nakai? Hi, Nakai, you just joined, right? Hi, Nakai. The rest of the class is working in breakout rooms, working on their career choices and transfer. So they're going to be back in the main room like in another minute. So just sit tight, okay? You're muted upon entry. So if you want to talk to me, you have to unmute yourself. All right, so it looks like everybody's back. Nakai, you're saying you can't hear anything. Can you check, please check your
I can hear
computer?
you now. I can hear you
Okay,
now.
okay, cool. So everyone's back from the breakout rooms. I'll ask for maybe two volunteers to just give some highlights about either your own career exploration or something you found on the website, the Bureau of Labor Statistics website, or just something that you discussed in your group as it relates to career or transfer. Go right ahead. Any two volunteers. I don't want to necessarily, we don't necessarily have to go through each breakout room, but just anybody who wants to weigh in on what you guys discussed.
Well, I was happy to see that the marketing career that I was thinking about.
Yeah.
I read that it has overall employment of advertising, promotions, and marketing managers is projected to grow 8% from 2018 to 2028. So pretty much that's like the next career that's going to be taken off within the next 10 years or so.
Yeah, it's growing even faster than when I was looking at the accounting and auditors, and normally there's always work for accountants. That was only 6%. So the fact that so the fact that you're growing at 8% is pretty great, Hoover.
Yeah, it's pretty big. I mean, considering all these companies that are all going online, and that's like the next way to go.
Yeah, there's still a lot of room for online marketing and so on. In fact, that's probably where most things are concentrated right now. Did anybody else find that your chosen careers is growing at a percentage that you were pleased with, like that you are happy that you are choosing something that's actually growing and not, going in the opposite direction?
Yes, I want to follow cosmetology, and a lot of like people are pursuing that right now, and it's very like the rate of girls that are doing hair and nails and stuff is growing right now. It's like a trend, so that's a good thing. It's a good thing and a bad
You can
thing.
make your own business. That's great. Good.
Yeah.
Any other comments about career choice before we talk about transfer school? Anybody else want to add anything? Did you find something on the Bureau of Labor Statistics website that was interesting, or are you concerned about your career choice? Anything like that?
No, I guess not.
Oh, I can wait. You know, it's part of the professor life to be comfortable with uncomfortable silences. But Elena, you're saying you're
Hello,
fine. Yeah, who's talking?
it's Snapchat.
Hi, Navjot.
So I'm a accounting major,
Yeah.
and I talked with a few people that like know about the industry, and they're saying it's not looking so good down in the future because
Based
they're
on,
saying,
did they give you data, or they're just saying based on their
yeah,
own opinion?
they made me like double guess like my major because they say like everything's gonna be AI.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
like,
I think that if you, are you finished talking? Sorry, I don't mean to cut your word.
yeah,
Okay, so I think that type of thing could be a concern for many of us. Oh, we're moving to AI, the robots, are coming, or everything's going to be computerized. As someone who was a practicing accountant and an auditor, and someone who's still doing, from time to time books for people and so on, I will say that yes, some elements of the work, as with anything, can be computerized and so on, but there will still be a need. And I mean, you probably saw it on the Bureau of Labor Statistics that the accounting and auditing field is set to grow by 6%. So there will still always be a need for accountants. Even if you could talk about big companies, like I used to work for Deloitte and Touche, they will still need accountants. I mean, that hasn't changed. I started working at Deloitte in 2003, and I mean, I still know people who work there, and no one has been laid off because their job could have been done better by a machine. It's just not something that has been happening. Now someone could say, well, looking into the future, aren't companies going to try and pare down and things like that? It's possible, but I still don't think to the extent that maybe people who are talking doom and gloom are thinking. Furthermore, as an accountant or a CPA, you could also be thinking about doing the books for smaller businesses, and smaller businesses are not going to be engaged in artificial intelligence and whatnot. It's just not a thing. Even if you wanted to concentrate on taxes, someone could say, oh, well, TurboTax is going to take your job. No, there still has to be a person who is punching stuff into the system, and who understands the rules and regulations. It's not possible for the most part to just, to just scan in your W-2 or your 1099, and the system will just run with it. So Navjot, I want to try to, for you and others, I know there are others in the class who are also thinking about accounting. I want to reassure you that there is a lot. I mean, I know so many accountants. There is a lot of work still out there, and you want to probably be thinking about maybe where in what direction you want to specialize. But I would be very reticent to just speak to a few people and necessarily listening to what they're saying without doing your own detailed research. So you add some stuff now on the Bureau of Labor Statistics, but I also want to encourage you to go to the website This Way to CPA.com that I put in the chat notes. There's a lot of examples of people who are currently working in accounting, and you can see the diversity of the work that they are doing. And a lot of people actually work on trying to help clients to understand how to account for certain transactions, and that requires a human being. Because the thinking it through is it just cannot yet, and I don't know if it will ever be done by a machine. What do you think of my counterpoint? And it's okay if
yeah,
you
I
if
I
you don't
think you're
agree.
right, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I also feel like the job market for like finance jobs and accounting jobs is like so exaggerated, because like as we know, like just like a STEM major is so hard, so people like go less towards that way, you know, and they go towards a business as accounting and finance because it's like more easier of a major, you know. And I feel like it's so saturated.
I think that you have, there's one point that I think is valid. When you talk about finance, which isn't accounting, I mean, actual pure finance, after the financial crisis, 07, 08, 09, the banking and finance industry did shrink a lot because obviously they went through a massive, we went through a recession and they went through a massive reckoning. So if you're going to talk pure finance, like I want to be an investment analyst, or I want to be a stockbroker, or I want to be a, you know, something like that, that part of banking and so on has shrunk because of the financial crisis. If you want to talk about accountants in general, I think that we can maybe do a little bit more research to see about, you know, the saturation element. I mean, the government is saying that there's still room for growth. So for every business that exists, there's an opportunity for an accountant to work. Nakai was just talking about cosmetology. If she had to start her own business, she would need someone to do her books because she isn't necessarily the one who wants to do the book. So, I mean, just in plain terms, there are many opportunities for accountants. I'm an accountant and I'm teaching. You know, there are other ways that you can use the degree. You can start your own tax practice and so on. So, I mean, you know, yes, STEM is there and people are like, well, many people are not able to get through the STEM stuff. Ultimately, you still have to think about what is it that you want to do. You know, do you want to go into STEM just because maybe you might be able, it's not as saturated, but it's actually not something that you desperately want to do. You know, we'll still explore this further. I'm not necessarily trying to convince you in either direction because it's a decision you have to make, but it is my job to try to provide the points and the counterpoints when we're talking about, you know, career. I don't know about, you know, about saturation at the moment. All my friends who I know and even colleagues who are accountants are all employed. So I'm struggling to think of a situation where there are a whole lot of unemployed accountants at this time. But I mean, I'm sure we can work through it a little bit more if you want. I'm happy to chat more about this. Do you have an area of accounting that you're interested in, or an idea of where you might want to end up?
Really doesn't matter, like anywhere in accounting.
Okay, so
hello, Professor.
Let's talk more. Yeah, let's talk more offline. Sorry, who's talking now?
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Do we have to submit this document to Blackboard, right?
Yeah, and that's you're leading me to my next point. So I'm going to share my screen and just talk through that. So basically, you guys already started answering the first three questions. You probably might have made some notes about a typical day, what type of qualifications you need, and so on. I do want to explore, sorry, my throat is dry now, to explore the transfer options. Did some of you get to that point in your small group where you spoke about transfer schools?
Yeah, for us. Well, for me personally, I'm accountant, and I looked into it, and so far it seemed reasonable. And I'm looking at either Baruch or Queens College. Well, that all depends on the scholarship I'm getting.
Yeah, so you need to have at least two options. Yeah, I need to know what you're thinking. I know most people are like Baruch, and that's fine, but you need to have a plan B in case, you know, of not wanting to go to Baruch or not getting into Baruch. There are other places that are offering business majors. And when you look at the transfer school, you know, look at the different streams. For many of you, your business administration, they're going to have business administration with different concentrations. So you might actually find maybe some of you are interested in human resources, some of you are interested in marketing and so on. So be specific about what it is that you want to study at the school. So for the purposes of our work and what has to be what has to be submitted. I think Jonathan was asking. I'm just asking you to go up to the transfer options, because everything else, I mean, it's just websites that you're looking at. I included this information here about scholarships because I do think, sorry, let me just drink some water. I do think that it's important to consider the possibility of getting scholarships. The LaGuardia Foundation has a scholarship that you can apply to depending on whether you meet the criteria. There's a Hispanic Scholarship Fund, the Dream Scholarship. This way to CPA, for all my CPA folks, you can go and look there. They have some scholarships as well. If you want to join the LaGuardia President Society, they give a stipend where, you know, you get money to be part of that. This is a massive scholarship, the Jack and Cook Scholarship. It's basically $40,000, but for when you go to a 4-year school, $40,000 a year, I think, for 3 years. And then there's also the Gutman Transfer Scholarship. So when you submit to me, because I know that's for most people what they're concerned about, I'm really just looking out for your career choices and what you wrote about your career choices over here. And I'm looking out to see where you guys want to transfer to and why you want to transfer there. And the rest of the stuff, I mean, if we were in class, we would be talking, you know, maybe more at length about this, but this is more like informational for you to go and look to see if you might qualify for one of these scholarships so that you can actually get money to continue with your work. With your studies, pardon me. And then, you know, to connect to the next class, we're going to be working on what your degree works or degree audit says. So maybe I should ask now, do people know when I say degree audit, do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay.
Yes, well, I do.
So let me see if I can what would be, maybe I need to give you instructions. I'll give you instructions on how to get there. So the degree audit is something that you'll find if you go into my LaGuardia. It basically lists all the classes that you could possibly take, all the classes that you have taken, and all the grades that you've received so far. And what I'm going to do in the next class is take you step by step through the degree audit so that you will be able to understand what is required of you. And we can start to work towards actually doing your, figuring out your 60 credits. So I'm gonna go back to sharing and just for the last time, show you again. Ugh, you know, this thing is so annoying. You need to, by this coming Sunday, so you still have time, you need to finish this document that we were working on today, and then you will submit it over here under assignments and due dates, specifically major, transfer, and career. And then I will be able to look at that before we meet on Tuesday so that I have an idea of what people want to do with their careers, and that will help me when I am talking to you next time about your course selection and things of that nature. Does anybody else have questions about what is due by Sunday?
I don't have a question on what's due, but I did want to just double check. Like, for example, you were showing us the Word document and you're showing us what you're interested in. Do you want us to rewrite it on a separate document, or
No,
should we just enter it?
Document. So if, I mean, most people obviously have a laptop or some type of computer. So just download this document, type directly onto it. Under each question, you can just type your answer. I'll take it exactly like that. You don't have to rewrite on a separate piece of paper and then type the stuff out. In fact, it helps me more if you just type on this document, because I can see the question, I can see your answer, and move on. And hopefully that's a quick thing for everybody to do. And the rest of the stuff that you don't have to necessarily do anything, like the transfer, website exploration, all of that, you can just leave that there. I mean, if you want to take it away, you can. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to focus on your career choices and your answers about your career and on your transfer options. I just want to, those are the things that I really want to make sure I understand where the class is at.
Oh, because that's what I did for the first 3 assignments that we submitted. I isolate all the question in separate documents and I entered it. So I wasn't sure.
So you can always ask me, but I'm very flexible. I would take it either way, but I think whatever's easiest for you, the way I see it right now is that it's probably easiest for everybody to just answer on the actual document. But if you don't think that that's easier for you, I'll also take it the other way, where you answer your questions separately. Is that okay, Andal?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, so use your discretion, whatever works. Anything else here, folks, about the class, about Thursday's class? I will send an email with all the instructions, like I said, maybe later tonight for the people who missed out on that. If you want to join the office hours, the office hour information, again, I'll share my desktop is on Blackboard. I'm at the risk of repeating myself a million times, but yeah, that's office hours under Zoom call, under Zoom call materials. That's the ID for the office hours. Are we good?
Yes, everything is clear.
Okay, so you've got work and you guys gave me work, which is fine. and I will be in touch regarding supports that you need and also the master calendar and all of the stuff that we mentioned. I'll still be around. I'll stay around on this call for another 10 minutes or so if anybody still wants to ask me separate questions, and then I will also be in the office hours at 1 p.m. on a different meeting ID. So for those who don't have any more questions, you're welcome to hang up. Thank you so much for joining. We'll meet again same time next week. I don't know if people want to see anything else. I mean, would it be helpful if I show you what degree audit looks like maybe now, since some people are saying they don't know what that is? Would that be helpful? Okay. Okay, so let me do that quickly. I mean, obviously, this is my my view, and I'm faculty. But you go to the Laguardia website, you go to my Laguardia. I have to go to faculty and staff, obviously. But then, excuse me, when I'm here under eTools, there's something called Degree Works. Everybody sees that, right? Under Degree Works, click in. Oh, great. Error 500, whatever that means. Okay, here we go. So over here, this is what the screen looks like. Did I go too quickly? Does anybody need me to redo that? The littlest classroom participant, do you need me to repeat? No? Right.
No.
Is anybody comfortable giving me the MPO ID that I can just type in so that everybody can see what the degree audit looks like? I don't have a dummy MPO ID.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
233.
Yeah.
792. 18.
18?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And also that's your degree audit, right? So when we join up next time, you're welcome to either look at this thing in real time, or if you wanted to download it in advance, you could actually save it as, I mean, I'm not going to save this now, but I just want to show you. It will render a PDF and you can save it as a PDF. And so you'd just be able to refer to it as I go through. And what I plan to do next time is to go through every section and make sure that everybody understands what it all means. And then eventually talk to you about which classes you basically will need to satisfy all these buckets. And, excuse me. And then afterwards, you will be tasked with setting up your schedule for the next few semesters to make sure that you have actually taken all the classes you need, and we can identify what your date for graduation will be. So that's what we're doing on Tuesday next week. Is that clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
Yes.
And Dal, just so you know, I'm recording this class. Are you comfortable that this piece will still be in the recording, or do you need me to cut it out?
No, that's fine.
Okay, all right. Okay, so that's degree audit. The bulk of our time will be spent on that, and also looking at, again, the required classes that you need in order to complete your degree. And then you will get given a worksheet that you will use to set up your schedule again for the next, whatever it is, 3 or 4 semesters, so that you know which classes you have to register for in order to be done. And I will also go through things like, what are the main classes that you need for colleges like Baruch or Queen's College, the classes that will actually transfer, to make sure that people are taking classes that are getting them to where they need to be. All right, so that's degree audit. Any other questions? Questions about the scholarship or funding options, or questions about, I mean, anything really. I'm still here for 5 minutes. You're welcome to hit me up. If not, you're also free to log off. You don't have to stay on just to keep me company.
Hi, Professor. Bye.
Hi. You want to bye? Oh, you were saying bye. Sorry. I thought you were saying hi.
Hi, Professor.
Bye.
Have a great day.
Did your assistant leave now?
Yeah, she left.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.